So today I want to show you how to make a really simple, really easy animation in Aseprite. Aseprite is really interesting animation software and actually isn't really an animation software. It's kind of more, it's probably better for just drawing sprites, but I like to use it for animation just because I don't have anything else to use, and it does support animation to some degree. So basically, what I'm doing here is I'm using a mouse just to prove how easy this is, and you don't need any high-end drawing tablets or anything else really to get started at animating in Aseprite. Um, I'm going to make a bouncing ball animation, something really simple, and you can just use this tool to make an ellipse. And how you make it a perfect circle is while you're drawing the circle, you hold shift and drag it out. So basically, once you have your shape, you can pull it over here. If you want to save this and just keep using it, you could pull it over here, and I think the keybind is Alt N to duplicate it. Let's just have something like 15 frames. And so you're gonna have it up here every single time you wanna change it. Let's lock the backgrounds just so we don't do anything weird with it, because we want the white to stay. And then let's pull it over. Maybe let's say on the first frame there's no ball, right? So on the next frame, we grab the ball, Control D to deselect, and pull it over here. Then on the next frame, grab it, and to turn on onion skinning, just to see where the next frame is, or the frame before, you can just press this button over here. Very helpful and kind of just a necessity when animating. So go over here, just repeat this process like how I'm doing with this kind of spacing. Just have that. So now you can turn off onion skins to see that, and now it's a very like surface layer animation. There's not a whole lot of substance to it. But to change that, to make it look a little better, you can do what's called squash and stretch. So on the impact frame, this right here, we can squish it a little bit to give it the effect that it's like being pulled on the ground. And it doesn't have to be anything special, just a little bit, you know? Just a small bit of a stretch. And then on this one, you could rotate it, stretch it, and then move it so it looks like it's kind of blending towards that other frame. And since this is pixel art, it's going to have a kind of interesting effect like that. But to fix it, you could just go back and trace over it to fix the spaces. So now that part should look a little bit better, but it's just that part, obviously, because we didn't do the rest of it. So on this one, you can do the same thing we did with the other part, and just rotate it, turn on onion skins. And the main principle of squash and stretch is that you want to make sure the volume of the object stays the same. So if you stretch it one way, you need to stretch it an equal amount the other way so that the shape doesn't have an inconsistent size. So see how they kind of look the same? I think I did mess up a little bit on this one. It does look a little bit bigger. It should. And you'll see that looks kind of decent. Still, there's more polishing to be done. And over here, this can remain the same. So any time where the ball peaks like this, it can just stay as a circle. That doesn't really matter because you do want it to still look like a ball. And so on this one, just minor changes. Honestly, really not that much is needed on this one, just because it's a small action. This I think can come back over here. Stretch. I think that's good. So now let's take a look at this. As you can see, there's a little bit of space right there where it doesn't look very natural. So right here, it seems like it holds in the air for too long. So a cool thing you can do in Aseprite is go to frame properties and the duration of the frame. You can change this to something like half of a frame. So it would be on the screen for half of the time of a normal frame. So go here, see how that looks? It looks like it goes a little too fast now, which is something we can fix. And I think the reason for that is because of how we have these spaced out. So this, go back a little bit. This can kind of go up a little. And then this can come back up. Just a little bit. And it's also still going to be inconsistent because we changed the duration of that frame. So now to kind of regulate that, we can duplicate this. And make a tween frame for that. This one is going to last 20 milliseconds, so it's going to be an even shorter time that it's going to be on the screen, but it's kind of going to blend the rest of it together. So another thing I want to do, now that we have kind of our baseline animation down, is I want to make a line so we can see where the ball is hitting the ground. So let's go over here, find this spot right here. Make sure we have our other layers selected. And do this. Just go back. Move it up to kind of where we want it to be. And that looks good. Make sure it fits the whole screen. And so we're going to, God, it's been a while since I've used this. We're going to just copy this for each frame. Sure, there's a more simple way to do this. I probably could have just selected all of the frames, but I guess this is a way of doing it. So now we can see that it's pretty inconsistent in where it lands, but that's okay. It's pretty much always going to be like that if you don't draw it immediately, but it's just something I don't like to do. Because I like to be able to make those adjustments later on. So here, also don't want to make, we want to make sure that it doesn't go into the ground. And this part. See, this is why you lock your layers, and Aseprite especially is bad with stuff like that, because I think sometimes it changes even if you do lock it. I don't know why. I don't know what this is. I'm not quite sure. Oh, I guess it's what you have copied, maybe? That's something new to Aseprite that I didn't know about that. So here we go. We also have here. I'm gonna have to change the rest of where these frames are, but just because of how I drew them originally. But it's all right. It's all right. It's a part of the process of animating. So stuff like this always happens. Always. Nobody is exempt. Unless you're like really good at planning your animations. I'm generally not that great at it. I kind of just draw whatever I want when I feel like it. So it probably takes a little bit longer for me than most people. It should. So here, still a little bit unnatural. This part looks fine, I think. And then this part, the way it rolls off, isn't. Just because I think there aren't enough frames right there. So let's change that. This is also bad. Gotta get this from over here. And where was it? So goes here, here. And I guess we can just kind of get rid of it late there. And see, it looks a little bit better. The way it drops, I'm not really liking that. It clearly does not land in the same spot where it seems like it's going to. That's an issue to regulate that. All right. So that should kind of make it feel a little bit more normal. And also a good skill to have when animating is figuring out what's wrong with your animations and how you can fix them. So kind of just keep watching your animations back. Here we can see that this is wrong because there's no squash. So it looks pretty stiff. This looks like it could be a little bit different. And I think the size is pretty irregular throughout the animation still, so I need to go back and fix that. And even with a mouse and just using the Eclipse tool, it still kind of looks like it has this hand-drawn feel to it. Although you might be able to tell because of the gaps, but you can go back and fix those. Anyway, now the next part of this, if you don't want to do any more polish, you don't want to add like colors or any other in-betweens to make it look more smooth or anything, go here to File, Export, save it to wherever you want to save it. Mine is going to be in my videos folder. Rename it. Let's do something like all_bounce.gif. And to resize, this is really important because you don't want it to export in a really bad resolution. You want it to export in a really good resolution so that it looks crisp and clean and like a pixel animation. So I would choose something around 400 depending on what your base resolution is. Mine is 150 by 150, so 400 is going to turn out 4 times 150. I don't know what that is. So I'm actually not sure why, but sometimes it doesn't actually export when it says it's exporting. But right here, as you can see, it has. So let's open this. And you'll notice that it's all good. It's right here. So you can do whatever you want with this. One thing I've noticed is when you when you send these directly to Discord, like a Discord server or anything, uh, it doesn't render properly, and I'm not sure why. So you could convert this to a video file if you wanted to, using like a an online application or something, and that should fix things for you if you have issues like that. But other than that, you can do whatever you want with this. Hope this helps. See ya. So this is me post-editing. I just wanted to say that if you enjoyed this video or you found it helpful and you want to see more, you can like the video or subscribe. And I will maybe make more of these kinds of videos. This isn't the kind of stuff I normally do if you look at the rest of my channel. But anyway, I had fun making it. See ya.